Hey guys, good evening. I hope everybody's doing well. Um, I just wanted to come on here to share a little something that God gave me the other day that I feel like it will be really encouraging for those who are in the middle of their assignments of what God has called them to, and you're kind of feeling like maybe you haven't had as much stamina or as much drive to really complete it or pursue it, and you're asking God give me strength, God give me wisdom to complete it, and you're just kind of feeling like you're falling behind. um I want to share a little something God gave me. So I've noticed these past 2 weeks as God's been, you know, I've been starting to see the blessings trickle in. And one of the things that I always worry about when I start getting blessings is that I make sure that I do not lose sight of God, because in my younger years when I had started looking for God the first time, and the first time I experienced a huge blessing, I forgot about God as soon as I got the blessing. I was so overwhelmed and elated by receiving the blessing and the answered prayer that I completely forgot about the relationship. And so that has always been a fear of mine. Like, now that God's called me back during the pandemic, like, that is something I always focus on. Like, even once I receive a blessing from God, I'm like, I praise him, but it's like, then I want to stay focused on him, because I don't want to let the blessing distract me from my relationship with him, right? And so one of the things that I've been doing is, like, I've been trying to give more of my attention to the assignment God has given me, which I know some of you guys know. I've shared it with you guys here. God's called me to write the book of my testimony. And although my testimony is not done yet, he's encouraged me to at least start writing it now, right? And so I feel like I've I've been doing it, but I feel like I haven't been giving it as much drive. I'm not where I thought I would be in the book at this time. And so I was just praying to God about that this week, and just, asking him, give me more strength, give me more time to have like the energy to sit down and write the entries and all that he's calling me to. And I just kept telling him, like, I feel like I'm not being as diligent as I need to be, God. And I was feeling like this shame and this guilt. And then God told me, it is not about works, but about procession. And I don't know what procession means, so I had to look it up. And it means the slow movement of the axis of a spinning body around another axis, due to a torque, so such as like gravitational pull, acting to change the direction of the first axis. So if you picture this definition, it's basically saying that one body, right? The direction of one body is based off the gravitational pull of a second body, so another axis. So one axis is direction is based off the gravitational pull of a second axis, okay? And so as soon as I read the definition, I'm sure you guys know where I'm going with this. As soon as I read the definition, I knew what God was telling me. He was saying our direction, right? The times that we take to fulfill our assignments, the times that we slow down in it, right? Our direction is based off his will. And so maybe we thought, oh, at this point we should have been doing X, Y, and Z of the assignment. But God is saying, no, you're on my timeline. And so if you're at the point you're at, it's because that's where I want you to be. If you've been surrendered to God and seeking his face, you don't have to worry about being out of alignment with what he's called you to do, right? God directs the steps of the righteous, right? And so if we know that, and we're seeking him, and we want his will, and he knows we want to fulfill the assignment, then we need to trust that where he has us in the assignment is according to his will, right? And for me, that was like so reassuring to hear, because one thing is, I don't want to let God down. He's done way too much for me. Way too much for me to slack on the things that he calls me to do. Like, in like any relationship, when someone is there for you constantly, you want to show them that you appreciate what they've done for you, and that you love them by doing the things that they ask you to do, right? It's no different with God. At least in my relationship with God, it's no different for me. Like, he has been there for me like no one has been there for me. So I want to give him everything that I can give him. So if he is asking me to write a book, I'm gonna give him a book. Like like, and so I wanted to share this with you guys because I know a lot of us have been called to certain assignments that are way out of our control, like way out of our ability. Like, it's very out of our comfort zone. Writing a book is very out of my comfort zone. If you know me, I'm very type A math kind of person. I like numbers and strategy. I'm very like critical on that stuff. Writing and philosophy and sharing my emotions and being vulnerable, that is like, whoo, over there for me. But as I've grown with God, he's really shown me that in that place of uncomfort is where he shines the greatest. Like, that's where his glory really shines through me. And so I've had to really let myself go to those places to allow God to do what he wants to do through me. And so for you guys who have these assignments where they feel so overwhelming, so big, like, how am I going to accomplish this? And you're probably feeling like I'm not where I'm supposed to be, and you're letting shame and guilt like really eat at you. I want you guys to know that it's not based on our works that this assignment will be done. It's based on God's procession. It's based on God's direction, right? He's directing our steps. And as long as you are faithfully seeking his direction as to how you should be fulfilling this assignment, trust and believe that where you're at is exactly where he wants you to be. Okay, so don't put this pressure on yourself, creating your own timeline as to how it should look and when it should finish. Instead, seek the Lord and say, God, am I where you want me to be with this assignment? Am I doing what you called me to do? Should I be doing more, or should I be slowing down? Am I where you want me to be? And so when I asked God regarding the book, like I told him, I was like, God, okay, I don't want to get distracted on this assignment. So can you please quicken me and the times where I need to be quickened? And he goes, have I not already? And it made me think, there's been certain times, like during the time since I started writing it back in April, there's been certain times where he would create opportunities in my life where I would get like whole sections done, like things that would have taken me 2-3 months to write. I wrote it in like a week. And so I know that God will hasten me to do what needs to be done when things need to get done. But right now, there's other things he has me focusing on. And so the same thing with you guys. Yes, God has probably given you assignment, but there's also other things he's probably called you to. Maybe he has put certain people in your life that he wants you to encourage in their walks with God. Maybe he has placed you in new places, right? New jobs, new cities, new churches, right? And he wants you to shine a light. Maybe he wants you to be that different voice, right? He needs you to stand up and be the child of God he's called you to be, right? And so he needs you to speak into that atmosphere, right? That place of influence he has called you to. And so maybe that is taking up a lot of your time and you're feeling like, oh God, but I'm not fulfilling the other assignment you've given me. Trust and believe that God will make time for everything that he has called you to do, because he has a perfect plan. Okay. And so as long as you're seeking his face, as long as you are in his presence, he will guide you. Trust and believe he will guide you. Okay. And so I wanted to share this because I just felt like maybe it will help somebody. Like it helped me. And just know that God sees you. He knows that at the end of the day, your heart is pure. You love him and you want to honor him. And he's taking that into consideration. But he also wants you to understand that it's on his timing that these things will be fulfilled, not our timelines that we put on our heads of how it needs to happen and when it needs to happen. Okay? So I love you guys and I pray this blesses you guys. Until next time.